Anybody? So the government's budget is composed of discretionary spending and what we'll call mandatory spending. Okay? Discretionary spending can be changed every year as part of the budgeting process. Mandatory budget is stuff the government can't change with a vote every year. Okay, on the budget, they'd have to create a separate law to change our mandatory spending. Okay, so we're going to talk about how that impacts fiscal policy. Okay, so we're going to talk about automatic stabilizers and how they impact the business cycle, how automatic stabilizers support the economy during recessions and help prevent inflation during expansions. And then we'll look at tax revenues and social service programs as automatic stabilizers. And we'll look at alternative ways that the economy moves towards full employment. Okay. This is just a brief history of stabilization policy. They're highlighting the Great Depression there. Prior to World War II, the unemployment rate fluctuated significantly. Stabilization policies after the war helped to smooth this out quite a bit, and would suggest that our efforts at fiscal policy stabilization have been mostly successful. Okay. So, discretionary fiscal policy is the direct result of deliberate actions taken by policymakers, i.e. the government passed the infrastructure bill, okay? Or in 2009, President Bush worked with Congress to create the American Reinvestment and Recovery Act. That was a discretionary government spending change, okay? So that's a direct act of Congress. It's them changing the law. However, there are also built-in fiscal policies that automatically work to stabilize the economy. And they're called automatic stabilizers because Congress doesn't have to do anything in order for these automatic stabilizers to work. Okay? They don't have to do anything. So let's talk about what that. So I mentioned that there was something called the mandatory budget. The mandatory budget is the budget the government has to spend depending on economic conditions. So if you qualify for Social Security at age whatever and you opt into Social Security, the government is mandated to pay that to you, right? If you qualify for welfare benefits because of whatever has happened in your life, there's nothing the government can do. You've qualified. You've met their qualifications to do that. Same for Medicare, same for housing subsidies, SNAP benefits, all that kind of stuff, okay? And then we have tax rates. They don't change unless government passes a law to change our marginal tax rates, okay? And these do act as automatic stabilizers when the economy is contracting or expanding. Okay, so here it's talking about just the stuff I was just talking about. Medicaid, which is a means-tested health insurance. Means-tested means you have to qualify by how poor you are, okay? Medicare is not means-tested. You just have to be a certain age. Okay, you just automatically get Medicare when you turn 65. Okay, Medicaid, you have to show the government that you're poor enough, okay? Same with SNAP benefits, okay, also known as food stamps. When we are in a recession, more people get laid off, incomes fall, more people become eligible for these programs. So because of automatic stabilizers, automatically when we're in a recessionary gap and people lose their jobs or their hours get cut or whatever's going on, the government is automatically going to increase transfer payments. And taxes are automatically going to decline because people have less income to pay towards taxes. Okay? So that happens regardless of an act of Congress or a change in law. So, this is just looking at the difference between automatic stabilizers and what happens in the long run macroeconomic equilibrium adjustment. I've already talked about this. It takes time for this adjustment to occur as wages and prices get unstuck. There's discretionary fiscal policy, which takes an act of Congress to change the spending or tax policies. And then we have our automatic stabilizers. Okay? Automatic stabilize. So this is kind of like the description. This is what happens. And then this is the result or some of the complications or costs of this. Okay? For the long run self-adjustment, it's time. Same with discretionary. Okay. So we're gonna have to finish this tomorrow. Okay? And I apologize if that cuts into our FRQ round robin. But the